So it's not clickbait. This mouse really will haunt you, and I'll explain why shortly. So I stumbled across the Precision Gaming Gear Titan 1 on Reddit, of all places, and the post I read is linked below if you're interested in the details. So this is a mechanical engineer's passion project, and if you look through their post history, they've made some other mice in the past too, all with precision and pen grips at their core philosophy. The bottom line is, the chap that built this mouse is fucking awesome. And thank you, Olaf, for sending me the unit for this review. The Titan 1 is the Precision Gaming Gear brand's first release, and as the name suggests, it is made of titanium, which is pretty unique actually. Most metal mice are made of magnesium. The mouse shell is 3D printed, and I had no idea you could 3D print with titanium as the material. That's pretty cool. The mouse weighs 22 grams, which is the lightest in my collection by a long shot actually, and the shell was optimized by an algorithm in order to remove all unnecessary material without impacting structural integrity, and the mouse feels rock solid in my experience. You know, that algorithm really worked. It has a left click, a right click, and a scroll wheel, but no mouse 3 or side buttons. It is also wired, and the cable runs out of the back of the mouse, so it comes out to the left, which I found to be a little bit awkward, if I'm honest. I'm still working on ways to manage that without it getting in the way. I'm also not a huge fan of the scroll wheel. You know, it doesn't have an awful lot of grip on it. It did break in a bit over time, and I'm glad it has a scroll wheel, but it isn't a great implementation. The PCB is a 3360 sensor with hot swappable switches that are hardwired debounced for a 0 millisecond response time. So I'm going to shamelessly read a section of the creator's Reddit post now, because I can't write it any better than he did. So, quote marks here. Modern mice already have less than 1 millisecond of electronic latency. So I found another way to reduce the felt click lag, and the answer is mechanical latency. In this mouse, you don't actually press down the micro switch, you release it. With a bit of mechanical wizardry, you can activate your Mouse 1 micro switch around 10 milliseconds faster than a Razer Viper 8K, as an example. Now that all sounds very clever, and I have no way of testing this, but I love the engineering that's gone into it, and you can really see his mechanical background shining through here. So if you look closely at the back of the mouse, you can see when I click the mouse switch is released, and that is such a cool click mechanism. Runs all the way through the mouse to the back. It's so clever. So that's all the specs and mechanisms explained. I'll give you a quick tour of the mouse now. And as you can see, the right click switch is on the side of the mouse. And this feels quite strange initially, but within an hour of use, I'd got used to it and felt completely comfortable using it. I was surprised to realize that actuating this switch took minimal effort and didn't actually knock my aim off target, which was a concern at the start. It's designed to be held like a pen, and although it kind of succeeds there, I find I hold it in a different grip due to comfort and the position of the sensor. I typically hold a pen with a slight twist in my wrist, but if I do that with this mouse, it throws the sensor off at an angle, which makes aiming tricky. Then if I straighten my wrist like Olaf does in his hand cam videos, my battered wrists aren't very comfortable in that position, so I can't hold the sensor straight in that pen grip. So I've adapted my grip and found an approach that feels more like I'm colouring in with a crayon than it does to holding a pen. The way the mouse sits in my hands makes it feel not like a mouse at all, and I barely notice it in my grip. It's completely comfortable, and I feel as though I'm aiming with my index finger, you know, really just pointing where I want the cursor to go. This is the coolest aiming experience I've ever had. This unique approach to mouse design has enabled me to beat some high scores by a good 25% that I haven't even gotten close to in recent months. When I'm in flow state, there's nothing that I prefer to use than this mouse. You know, it's incredibly intuitive to use, even though I've not used anything like it before. The Titan 1 is absolutely tiny too. You know, it's dwarfed by all of my other tiny mice, but despite its size, I've been able to use it for hours on end without any discomfort, once I'd adapted my grip, of course. So the reason this mouse will haunt you is because it's by far my favourite fingertip mouse, but you can't buy it anymore. Olaf made one batch, and as far as I know, he won't make another one, which is a real shame, honestly. I'd love to see more people get their hands on this. But he is working on a new design, which looks even more pen-like, and this will likely be sold over on his Discord, and that will be linked down below too. I really can't wait to see what other innovative approaches Olaf and Precision Gaming Gear come up with, and they have my full attention. I love brands like this, man. It's so refreshing. Olaf, keep cooking, brother. Great job. And I hope to chat to you very soon. Peace.